What we end up seeing with people is they'll start wanting to land too much on the heel or too flat-footed, which is going to make it so it spends a lot more time off the ground. Then typically that also makes it so you end up lifting your foot really high up behind you. Okay, so that, and that's really considered high heel recovery, or having just a high heel as it's coming off the ground, so your backside mechanics are just way too long. When you're starting and building acceleration, building speed, you really want to be fast with your backside mechanics and really being able to maximize your front side mechanics. There's a few people that are able to run fairly fast that don't follow those basic biomechanics, but that's a lot harder to teach. But if you are somebody that's really looking to accelerate and really doesn't have any concept of how to accelerate, then this information in this video will really help you out in being able to understand what you need to be doing. Okay, so I'm going to get set up here. So again, I talked about the setup already. I'm going to be about a foot length behind. Okay, I'm going to have my foot about slightly behind my heel, it ends up being. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. And from this position, I'm going to be here. And as I drive through, I really want to I have about 90% of my weight on, 85 to 90% of my weight on my front leg, and then I have about 15% of my weight on my back leg. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to be too fast in lifting up in my head. Okay, so I'll see people's first action be like this. Okay, we don't want to end up doing that. Okay, and we also don't want to end up doing this. Okay, so as quickly as I can, really for both these steps, I want to be here and here. Okay, to be able to get both length and quickness off the ground. I'm going to do a couple of them just so you guys can kind of see that. I think it helps to be able to see some examples here. So I'm going to be here, I have my weight forward, I have my hand locked in here, and then from this position, I'm really trying to be as explosive with my hips as I can, and also so I can cover ground more effectively. But with that, I also want to make sure that I'm able to spend the least amount of time on the ground as I can, which a lot of that ends up going, if we look to see some of the best sprinters as they're accelerating, what they do is they'll come straight forward with that leg, and then as they're striking the ground, they're pulling back and down like that. Okay, so it's not here, right? Not knee out, right? Or here. I see a lot of people that go here coming across. We want to be getting our knees straight through and then pulling out to the side. I'll show you guys some examples of that, okay? And then as I'm doing that, I want to be able to absorb with as much of my weight on my front part of my foot, so then I can transition off nice and effectively. I'm going to go another example here just so you guys can see it. Get myself set up. Okay, I really want to have good grip, especially in my back leg as I'm doing this here. Okay, really leaning forward, get my back hand in a position to really explode through. And now I'm trying to get as much distance with my hips as I can, as well as trying to get my toes up and off the ground as quickly as I can. So I'm thinking about just doing that with my ankles as I'm accelerating here. Another thing when it comes to the start, I just kind of thought about this as well. When we are coming, another important thing is we want to be violent with our elbows really coming forward. Okay, so what's going to help me in being able to come up is I want to make sure that I'm getting a strong action out of my arms. Okay, so I'm here, and my first action wants to be elbow coming all the way up and through here. So that's what's really going to allow my spine to be able to start to come up. I really want to be pretty connected with my chin. I don't want to be lifting my chin up. I want to keep my chin down as I'm going, but I do want to be able to get more lift in the front side of my legs. So what you don't want to end up doing is, and what I commonly see is people want to lift up here and then will end up wanting to lift up here. And that ends up being bad. So you want to be really keeping that chin tucked and really thinking about getting up and out with those knees and with those feet. And a good way to help you do that is by getting those arms up and out. Okay, so we don't necessarily, typically when I talk about the arms going forward, I really say exactly that, forward. Okay, it doesn't want to be, because sometimes I'll see people get too much up here. We really want to be thinking about getting out with those hands as we're accelerating, so then we could get really good range within our arm swing and really be able to maximize the turnover rate and also how much force we're generating in the ground, because that connection between the arms and the legs will help you be able to create a great leg cycle and really help you in being effective in striking the ground and being able to transition off the ground in a way that's going to be the best way to help you in being able to get a more horizontal or outward trajectory. Okay, what's important that we are covering distance here, and we want to be able to cover distance by how we're moving our arms and our legs. We don't want to have to do that by changing up how our foot is striking the ground too much, right? Or how we are pushing off the ground. If you had to push off the ground in a way to get more horizontal, then you're probably spending too much time on the ground. We really want to be aware of how we're striking the ground to make it so we're getting good horizontal action when it comes to the start.